Hi, this is Dr. Thomas Lancaster, and welcome to this presentation on essay mill spam. This is some work I've been doing as part of my research into contract cheating, which I think is worth sharing, because some really interesting ideas now about how essay mills are using spam techniques to get themselves more customers. Now, does this matter? Well, of course this matters, because this is causing people to cheat who wouldn't otherwise be doing so. So what am I going to look at in this video? Well, I really want to see what kind of techniques the essay mills, the custom essay writing providers are using now in 2018 to advertise their services to more students. And I can say it's not just legitimate type of marketing. And I say the word legitimate as much as you can say that any essay mill helping students to cheat is legitimate. Here's a definition of spam from the Merriam-Webster dictionary. And it's unsolicited, usually commercial messages, including emails, text messages, or internet postings. These messages are sent to a large number of recipients at once or posted in a large number of places. Well, this is very much the definition of the type of spam that essay mills are using, and in the examples I'm going to show you that it can be messages that are sent to lots of people, mainly students, and it can also be very similar messages sent out, well, again, similar messages to lots of people, perhaps slightly personalized, but they're all unwanted, they're all commercial, and they're all generally sent in an automated manner. As you'll see there really isn't that much about them that makes it look like they've been particularly well personalized. And I can say this is coming from my background researching academic integrity, a field I've been in since the year 2000, completed my PhD looking at student plagiarism, and more recently looking at contract cheating, which is the area about students buying essays and assignments or getting them done for them. So lots of experience in this area, and I mean, for me, really, this is a companion video to a post I put up on my blog at thomaslancaster.co.uk. There are some different examples in the video to some of the examples on the blog post, so by all means, look at most of them. If you prefer to read, then by all means, go straight over to the blog and leave your comments on there. Well, let's go straight on and look at a few examples. So I'm going to start off with the site that I use. I've got my own Twitter account at Dr. Lancaster. It's a very popular site, very well used by people talking about essays, and plenty of examples of the type of thing going on with essay mill spam on these sites. So here's just a really standard type of request. A student posts a request here. Someone saying, I will pay someone to write my philosophy paper. Now, we don't know if this person is being serious or not, or if they're just quite frustrated, can't quite tell with that frowny face there. But very quickly, gets back 29 responses within a matter of hours. There's probably a load more of them been made by now since I put this slide together. And no doubt a lot more private messages sent to this student that we just can't observe as people involved in the contract cheating detection world. And you can see the kind of things they're saying. We've got the, and they're all much the same, so I've just picked out 5 examples. I'm willing to write your essay. Direct message me with the instructions. Don't let the stress of school get you down. Have your essay written by a real professional writer. Visit this site. Turn around in 3 hours, so incredibly quick advertised time for someone who really is frustrated. Someone says, I'm so down to work on the paper. We've got get an awesome deal, 0% plagiarism level, and top grade. You notice advertising 0% plagiarism because the student then doesn't need to be worried they might get caught. Another one done on time. You'll also might notice from these the kind of things that stand out to me. The word writer is very common in the username. The word essay, the word papers, quite a common term. Not so common in the UK, but used overseas. But they're all very blatant, and they're all really standardized messages. You can well imagine these same messages are being sent to a load of different people. And that's the very definition of spam. Here's another example. A student talked about essays, and I can't remember from this particular case if they said they wanted the essay writing for them. I suspect they just said something like, it's hard work writing this essay, or worse to that effect. But the response they got back is a standard one. We will be glad to write the essay, but they also said no scam. Well, that's a question is, these are spammers, are they also scammers? And that's something I'll come back to at the end of this video. I did say these bots don't discriminate, they just target anyone, and here's a frustrated student here that says, I wonder if I'm cursed to have a bot offer me its plagiarism services every time I tweet about essays. Because of course these are just purely unintelligent auto-matched tweets. They just look for the word essay, they look for the word write, and then they send out a standard response to advertise their services, which presumably aren't getting enough orders through the more traditional methods of marketing. Now, some good news are that students are really not all au fait with this amount of spam. So these are responses to an absolutely prolific account which contacts anyone who mentions essays, and 4 of them within a very short time period that loads more with student responses saying things like, go away, I'm done. I'd rather die than pay you $200. I wrote it a month early. That one just shows you how badly targeted this is. And I'm not paying anyone to write my essay, I'm more than capable. So they're all good signs that really most of these people do want to act with academic integrity, whatever this might suggest. Let's move on to Exhibit B, which is blog posts. And these also get a load of spam. So here is a blog post I wrote for The Conversation, which is like an academic news site where you share details about your news stories. And unsurprisingly about contract cheating, so it was about essays. Very quickly got a load of essay mill spam. You'll see most of it has been removed because I asked for that to be removed. It wasn't removed automatically. An essay mill comment is still there, which doesn't come across quite like spam, although obviously it is marketing, but at least a little bit more intelligence has gone into that post compared to some of the other ones. But of course they all have links to their services. So they're the kind of things you risk as soon as you now put forum posts online or you put videos online. Here's another example. This was Sarah Hill. This was her blog, and her posts from way back in 2008 had spam posted on it in 2016, and the posts were nothing to do with essays, they were just about writing. It had some very standard spam there, and in fact I think these posts were nothing even to do with writing, just writing comments earlier and elsewhere on the blog, and a very obvious spam because of the link there with the words writing service. I don't know where it goes to, I have no intention of finding out, and in fact these posts have all been removed because it's from Sarah's blog there, but saying essentially that students should write, but you cannot write your essay, this writing service may help you. So very obvious spam. And a second example from a post in 2008 again, very similar, probably the similar kind of response. You'll notice these companies are trying to link keywords. So the first one has linked the keywords writing service. The second one has linked the words custom writing company. They're all things presumably I think that students might be searching for. You'll see they also use the term academic writing rather than essay writing. It makes it sound very slightly more professional. Whether it actually is or not is anyone's guess. So that's a post from Peevish Pen. And there's all this comment spam, as I said, YouTube videos, I post videos, they get essay mill spam on them, I delete the spam, but it's a recurring cycle. I know other researchers get the same thing, and of course people who have nothing to do with contract cheating and essay mill research get the same thing. All the discussion forums now, Reddit, areas like that, which have taken over from this, social networks as well, you find all kinds of spam examples on there. And last main example, Exhibit C, probably what we think of when we heard the word spam, is email spam. Emails that are unsolicited, sent straight to people. And here's an example from a former student of mine that still has a student account now. I'm just not at the same university as him anymore, and this is one that he was sent, and the really interesting thing here is that he's never used this email account outside that university, he's not circulated it, but you notice the headline, balance your fun and student life, get assignment and dissertation help. That would help mean something a lot more than a little bit of help. Why struggle? And they're really going for the student pain points. They're talking about assignments, dissertations, presentations, because they do the slides for students nowadays, and editing, proofreading, those sort of grey areas where they probably end up rewriting it for the student. But also they're advertising SPSS, statistical software, MATLAB, and lots of the skills needed now at this time of year for a student trying to complete a dissertation. They're or needed for a master's project, those high-end research areas that students struggle with, and they needed extra support. So it's really trying to jump in to that market. Further down in blue, they talk about data analysis, regression analysis, so all the stats type of stuff. And they also mentioned some of the universities they've worked for, so some big names there. Bath, Coventry, Durham, UCL, Manchester, they claim to have student clients for. And something which I find quite worrying at the bottom there, that they will give you a Turnitin Pro report for £5. Now, interesting in two ways. First of all, that they got access to Turnitin and are able to supply that report, because really that should only be available to legitimate users, whether they're students or academics. But also they're advertising Turnitin Pro, that I'm really not convinced is a service that Turnitin offer. But I guess it makes it sound a bit better by calling it Turnitin Pro. So that's a message sent to a student where they'd either hacked into the accounts, had guessed the email addresses, or perhaps someone, a student, had supplied a lot of email addresses, who knows where that had come from. Here's an example of something I got to one of my university accounts there, and I can't read that. I did translate that, and it's exactly what you think it might be. Advertising original custom writing being made for students, and I'm sure you can guess the nationality of student that's being aimed at based on the language. Now, clearly it went out fairly randomly, just to any email addresses they could get or guess, because so many university email addresses are completely formulaic, and it's quite hard often to differentiate between staff email addresses and student email addresses. But some words in English there probably stand out. Turnitin again, 100%, because you'll beat Turnitin. HND, particular type of qualification there. Words like top and words like pass. Again, it's making it clear that this group of students can cheat and get away with it, and they can just outsource all their writing, essay and assignment troubles to them. So all this spam is getting out there to students. It's really worrying this is getting through. I think I got about 5 different emails from this company. They did end up after the first one in my spam account, but I do check that spam account because it's not always completely correct there. But I'm sure they're definitely getting through to students as well, and who knows, these techniques might be working. Well, if you are a student and you are spammed, or if you're an academic wanting to warn your students, then certainly there is danger here. It's not as clear-cut as it might be, and I said these can be scams earlier on. And here's an example from the well-known Essay Scam Forum, where people do post details of the scams they've been involved with in the essay mill world, and some companies advertise as well. There's a lot of really interesting stuff for researchers on that site. And the whole story behind this one is a student tweeted about needing an essay. There's no evidence he ever purchased it, but a scammer worked out who the student was, they worked out which university they were from, and they sent an email to that student telling them to send some money, or they'd report the student for having bought assignments. Now, there's no evidence the student ever had bought assignments, but presumably these blackmailers, because really this is blackmail, are just looking for people talking about essays with the idea that there's a good chance they have bought essays before, and they might be able to convince these people to send the money across. Now, I don't think this student ended up paying, but we don't know how many people do pay, because these students are not going to tell us. And if they're getting $500 from students who are thinking about using essay mills, or maybe have in the past, and so may think these scammers can get access to their essays, so of course some of them really do, then we should be really concerned about this going on. So there's all kinds of scam going out there linked to spam. So we really need to say no to essay mill spam. We need to be really clear to students, don't risk using these services, don't risk using any essay mills because you'll get caught, but if they have to spam you, then there's something going on there. So what do we know about the comment spam? Well, we already knew the marketing techniques were really sophisticated being used by the essay mills. They've got these big funnels, as I've shown in previous work, huge amounts of money end up going to affiliates, going to advertisers along the way. But the spamming techniques are getting really sophisticated as well, because these companies now think they can get a part of the millions of pounds of business going through every year. And I think we've decided we're talking hundreds of £1 million of business now, going back a few years. And it seems like the market is getting larger and larger every year. And the spammers are trying to use all the techniques used by these more legitimate companies. whether we want to say they are legitimate or not. But it's all about building relationships through private discussions so they can use the private messages on Twitter. It's all about vulnerable groups, so for international students or the non-English speaking students are being targeted in that spam, just as they are on notice boards and in other places. And it's using all the standard sales techniques. Have more fun. Plagiarism free. You won't get caught. We will turn this around really quickly. We will give you a discount. We will give you a discount on your next order. Refer your friends to us. All these sales techniques. It's all about sales and marketing. This is what the SA Mill space is now. So all I can really say is we need to say yes to academic integrity. We need to promote academic integrity from the outset to our students, and we need to move them away from SA Mills. By all means, say you know SA Mills exist. We know they do. Students know they do. There's no point in being too coy about it, but promote positively the idea of academic integrity. And if you want to know more about this, you want to talk to me, then I'm always happy to come and speak about academic integrity, to deliver training sessions, to collaborate with the media. Do drop me an email. My site is thomaslancaster.co.uk. You can get me at Twitter at Dr. Lancaster, and you can email me at thomas@thomaslancaster.co.uk. By all means, find out more from my international work on contract cheating, student plagiarism, and academic integrity. Thanks for watching this video on SA Mill spam. I hope it's been useful for you.